Welcome into the second carrier update of the morning, presented by Powerfleet. I'm Tony Mulvey, joined by Donnie Gilbert. Donnie, going to get into this rejections.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about rejection rates when we went off the air last time, but I'm going to take this chart here and I'm going to break it down. So let's go to the next chart, please, and we're going to look at different line hauls for rejection rates to kind of see where rates are. The rates about maybe the highest or the lowest, or what's changing in these rates at what difference of loads out of or lengths of haul, let's say. So in the blue here in the dark blue here we have long haul outbound tender rejection rates, and they're actually moving up right now, but they're at 7.24%, which is right there in the average. We go to the tweener haul, which is interesting because I'm going to talk about this one here next here for just a few minutes. It's at 9.04%. It's those loads that are from 450 to 800 mile, and that's a very important range. And I'll explain, I'll explain why here in a little bit. But it's always normally the highest at 9.04%, but it is trending down. Mid-haul, that 250 to 450 mile range, it's also trending down, but a little bit higher still at 8.64%. And then, of course, like your short hauls, those kind of not quote city hauls, but within 100 miles, whatnot, 100 to 250 miles are 6.62%. So you can kind of gauge here and see what direction those load types are going.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what's interesting is, are you seeing those long hauls start to pick up, trying to put some pressure on those rates, especially.
Yeah, and that's the only one of the four that we see that's actually starting to trend back up right now. Well, let's pop over here and look at tweener haul, TOTRI. On the next chart here, I've got it brought out here just alone. It's trending down, but it's at 9%. Now, this is a real big key indicator of what's going on in the markets. And you ask, why? Well, because it is in that 450 to 800 mile range. And those are a lot of the loads in there in that range, those 600, 700 miles, 750 mile runs. Those are a lot of loads that carriers don't want, because the new ELDs here, these loads may take a day and a half to run, but maybe 2 days to deliver, depending on when they get there, and they can really mess up some schedules. Yeah. So they would rather accept either the long hauls or the mid hauls over the tweener hauls. So you can actually see what's going on in the market. When a market's really robust, they're declining all these. They're always going to decline these when they can. Yeah. So you'll see really high rejection rates on tweener haul. But as things start to slow down and other opportunities are not possible, they'll start accepting these because they have to. So what are we seeing right now? We're seeing a, quote, softening in the market, and we're seeing the rejection rates on tweener hauls going down to 9.4%, and it's a perfect representation of what's going on with the markets.
Yeah, it's that in between that it's a lot easier to schedule a long haul where you're going to be on the road for 2+ days, or a short haul where you're going to be delivered in the day. Or even the mid haul, where into that 450 miles. Yeah. I mean, you're going to be there in a day. I mean, even with traffic, if you use all your hours, you can still get there
in a day. Yeah. So good one to keep an eye on. Just kind of a good market key indicator is the tweener haul.
Awesome. Well, thank you for this update, Donnie. We'll be sure to check in you more in the second hour. Right now, toss it back over to Anthony and Thomas.